Welcome to a half hour to health. I'm going to talk about three important topics today. The first is, what is health? We all have ideas of what health is, and what I hope to get you to do is to question where those ideas have originated from. Are they your beliefs and your ideas, or are they ideas that have come from a different source of your life through experiences? The second is, how does my body work? And although we think it's magical, our body works properly or improperly due to one master control system. And the third topic is, what is a subluxation? A subluxation is a chiropractic term, and what I'd hope to get you to do is to understand how it can negatively affect your well-being. So let's get started. When I'm in schools or in colleges or in the community educating people on what is health, I ask the simple question to define what health is. And health for many people is about symptoms. If I feel good, I'm healthy. If I have an owie or an ache, I must not be healthy. I must be sick. And really what I want to do is educate you on our symptoms are actually there for a reason. They're there to motivate us to take action, because pain is a great motivator. And they're also there for us to check in to see what our health pie looks like. I believe health is somewhat of a pie-shaped unit. There's many different pieces to the pie. We have our nutrition, that's a piece of pie. We have nutrition, we have our sleep habits, we have our relationships in our life, both good and bad. We have exercise, that's a huge piece of it, and then we also have our habits around taking care of our body through our nervous system. So if something is out of sorts, then I would go ahead and check in with yourself and your body and see what part of the health pie needs a little work. So defining health is not really the definitional way to define health is being of sound body, mind, and spirit. It does not have to do with symptoms. So I want you to put the symptoms on hold for a minute and think about your health pie in the next few minutes and what you could do to make your health greater. So let's talk about a few symptoms that sometimes I know I see at the office quite a bit. I take care of a lot of children in my office because I have a wellness-based practice. So one would be vomiting. Vomiting is, if you think about vomiting, I know it's not a pleasant topic, but it is the quickest, most effective way to rid your body of something that you've come in contact with. So it's a very efficient system of the body. You get it up and out quickly because the body wants to become healthy again. Children are very good at this. They can go on with their day, but the vomiting is there to go ahead and get action and get whatever's in their body, poisoning their system, out as quickly as fast as possible. The second thing is a fever. Normal body temperature is 98.6. And so what I hope to get you to do is to understand that temperatures are there for a reason. They're there because the body is boiling up, trying to kill off a bacteria or a virus that either an adult or a child has come in contact with. So it's very common to brew up to 101, 102 degrees to go ahead and kill off that virus or bacteria in the body. It's not a pleasant experience when people are having a fever, but it's a very, very important part of overall health within the body. So the body knows how to heal it. And then coughing and sneezing are common day-to-day things that we see pretty regularly, especially with children. And again, that's a fast, effective way to rid our body of germs that we've come in contact with. So again, it's not really pleasant to see little Johnny at the office with a runny nose or sneezing or coughing. But again, it's a fast, effective way to get rid of proteins and old cells that the body needs to detox, so it can make room for a healthier immune system. So again, those are not very pleasant experiences, but how we feel is a poor indicator of how healthy or unhealthy we are. And then, unfortunately, in our society today, traditional health care has taught us that there's a pill for everything out there, everything under the sun. And so you can make really a choice. This body that you were given, this God-given body, is a self-healing mechanism. And sometimes we just have to allow it a little bit of time to heal. But in our fast-paced society, we don't like to wait for our dry cleaning, never mind our body to heal. So Sometimes you cover up underlying and sicknesses by treating just the symptom and not addressing the underlying cause of the symptom, which is there for a reason. So, you know, if I was going to, a few people in my practice have gone to, they work in big insurance companies, and so as part of their annual requirement, they might have to go for a physical of some kind. And they think, well, what's the big deal? I feel good, I look good, I don't have any symptoms. But they go in and they have their blood drawn and they have a physical exam and weight and measured, and then they go home. And a couple of days later, they get a phone call to come back in, and the blood work revealed or the test revealed some kind of cancer. And they think, well, how can that be? I have no sign, I have no symptoms, and I have no pain, no problem, because that's what they were programmed to believe. But again, inside their body, it's a different, something different was playing in there, and something was building and building and building without the signs or symptoms. Traditional healthcare does not appreciate it when we ask the question, why? And that's what I hope to get across this whole time that I'm speaking with you today, is that we have I just want you to become consumers of health, because it is a consumer-driven thing that we need to be a part of. But also I want you to ask the question why when something's going on in the body. So in my office, we'll have like someone come in with migraine headaches. And traditionally the mode of treating a migraine is to take a pill so that you can go about your business. And you think, well, what's the big deal? It will get rid of my headache. But again, ask the question why and look at some of your habits. Because migraines are really, really debilitating to a lot of people, and it takes a lot of work to create a migraine. Many systems in the body need to ramp up to create that kind of a physiological response. So taking a pill to just mask the migraine isn't going to get rid of the cause of the migraine. But taking some steps like maybe hydrating, pre and post activities, sports activities. Sometimes if you just get up a few minutes earlier and start your day with a plan, an action plan for your day, and get rid of some of the stress in your life, that would be good. There are some foods that are catalysts to migraines. For some people, putting a banana in on an empty stomach, for instance, is a potassium load in the body, and that can trigger a migraine. Or maybe some chocolate or alcohol. There's many things that can be catalysts for migraines. So being able to pinpoint those catalysts and eliminate them from what you consume can also be helpful ways of eliminating the migraine headaches. And then another thing that high blood pressure is another one that I'd like to talk about. And traditionally in this society today, people want their blood pressure down. That's the key. Most people run with high blood pressure. So they want to be able to go and get the blood pressure reading on the cuff and make sure it's normal. And so they think, well, what's the big deal as long as my blood pressure is normal? Well, taking a pill to create normal blood pressure is not a great idea, in my opinion, because that pill over time can really, really be toxic to the kidneys. So ask the question why. Why is my body creating this kind of a mechanism of a high blood pressure? Again, there's some steps to take that are basic steps. Exercise is a big component of high blood pressure. And again, what we consume on a daily basis as far as nutritional components of our life, and our thoughts and our stress can also play havoc on our blood pressure. So those are things that I would start with. And then a muscle spasm. Let's talk about that for a minute. Traditionally in our society, if you have, like, let's say a spasm here on the back, on your low back, and there's pain associated with it and it's gripping you, and you think, well, I'll just take some muscle relaxants to get rid of the pain. What's the big deal? That muscle spasm is there for a reason. It's to catch your attention. So if you take a pill to alleviate a muscle spasm here in the back, it doesn't just go to the lower back. It goes to every muscle of the body. And your heart's a muscle. So all of a sudden, the communication between the heart and the brain is altered because you've changed your physiological response of the body. And then the last one I'd like to talk about as far as symptoms goes is malfunctioning gallbladder. Typically the mode of treating a gallbladder that's malfunctioning or short-circuiting is similar to that of a tonsils or appendix, and that's typically we take them out. We remove the organ tissue. And again, ask the question why. Why is my gallbladder short-circuiting? The gallbladder's job, part of the job is to break down fats. So if you remove the organ that breaks down fats, And then you continue to have like Burger King for breakfast and some kind of processed food for lunch, or Pizza Hut or something like that, and then not a whole base dinner as well. The body is going in, it's short-circuiting, giving you a sign that something's wrong. So start with your health habits first and eliminating some of the processed fatty foods that you eat, and your gallbladder will be a lot happier. So let's talk about, because the second thing I said I was going to talk about is how does my body actually work? Now, optimal health is how well your body works physically, mentally, and spiritually, which brings me to the next topic. How does the body work? And before I talk about how the body works, I'm going to go out a little bit and talk about it on a universal level. In our universe, we have one sun, one moon, and 9 planets that I know of anyway, unless we've discovered more. And if you stop for a minute and think about the organization in the universe, Saturn's wings don't jump over on Pluto. There's an organization in that universe, and it's called universal intelligence. And it's there from the smallest little sea creature to the biggest redwood tree in the forest that started with a little seedling. And it's called universal intelligence. Things grow to their optimal strength and size. That same intelligence is inside of each and every one of us. And inside of us, it's called innate intelligence. And it's there from the very beginning, when you became you. See, what happened in the beginning is 2 eggs collided to form 1 cell. That divided to form 2 cells. And then 4 cells, 8 cells, 16 cells, 32 cells. And about the time you were 32 cells, a clump in your mom's belly, something magical happened. A line develops down the back of the cell tissue, and that's the beginning of your nervous system. It's a critical time for growth and development and communication to the baby that's being built in the body. And that right there is the beginning of your nervous system. Your nervous system is a system that chiropractors work on every day, and that's why we're here, to tell you about your nervous system. The function of the nervous system is to control order, have the order and control. It's the traffic cop of your body. The purpose of the brain and the nervous system is to provide order and control within the whole body. It innervates every cell, every muscle, and every tissue of the body. And then in the end, at full term, you have this baby that's born with 2 eyes that face forward, 2 ears on the side of their heads, 10 fingers that grow 3 to 5 inches instead of all the way to the floor. It's amazing. And I don't know about you, but at week 30, I didn't have to think I was making liver cells. The body just does it intellectually, and that's called inborn or innate intelligence. But what happens when something goes a little wrong with that whole piece, meaning there's a little interference with along the pathways of innate intelligence? Many things can disrupt or aggravate the nerves as they flow out to the organ system below. And that is what's called a subluxation. Subluxation is a chiropractic term. And what I hope to get you to do is to really understand here how this works. I'm going to show you a model of the spine here. You have the back of the spine, and here's the front of the spine. There's 24 movable segments along the spinal cord down here, and they're separated with discs, by discs. The back of the spine, you have the brain stem transitioning through this bony compartment down and becomes the spinal cord. And it's movable. It's how the spine is housed in the spinal cord for protection and also for motion. And when a bone moves out of place, anywhere along that pathway, because here's all the nerves that run out through the spinal cord, that will be a subluxation. Sub means less than, and luxation means nerve impulses going out to the body below. So that's what's a subluxation. Let's talk about what causes these subluxations to occur in a body. There's really 3 components here: emotional, chemical, or physical, but they're all under the umbrella of stress. Stress, stress, and more stress. So emotional stress, let's define it. Things that we worry about in our lives, both good and bad things. If I'm getting ready to go on a big trip or an anniversary cruise or something like that, it might be stressful getting ready for that. That could cause a subluxation. Or worrying about money, or are their kids going to be home on time, or relationships, or maybe an incomplete cycle with a friend or something like that. Emotional stress. Chemical stresses. Chemical stresses are things we ingest into the body, things that we subject ourselves to internally. So for instance, coffee. Coffee can short-circuit the nervous system for sure. It makes us jittery, and caffeine can jump us up, and then it's going to make us crash a little bit. Alcohol can be a depressant to the nervous system. Nicotine from cigarettes, smoke, that can definitely be toxic to our nervous system. We know that. It also is toxic to the rest of our body because our lungs and everything else are involved. Some of the prescription drugs and over-the-counter drugs that we choose to take on a daily basis that stay in our systems and harbor illnesses over time, those can cause subluxations to occur. And then some of our choices about what we consume, the fuel we put in to run this miraculous machinery, that can also cause subluxations. So fats, fatty foods, fried foods, stuff like that, that can cause. Moderation's key with that component, I believe. And then physical stress is that third component that causes subluxation. And those are the things that we physically do on a day-to-day basis. If I was a guy that works in the middle of the road jackhammering for 8 hours a day, I'm going to have physical stress at the end of that day. But fun things too, like hobbies, gardening, that can cause physical stress. Bending down and pulling, that can cause physical stress as it builds in the system day in and day out. Some of the activities we choose around sport events can definitely cause physical trauma to the body. And I have read and have been told also, both, that studies have shown a whiplash of being hit by a car 5 miles per hour is all it takes from the rear to your body to cause a whiplash to occur. So that, again, will leave physical stress in the body. So we have all these stresses coming in on a day-to-day basis. But again, for many of us, we've been programmed no pain, no problem, no symptom, no sickness. That's not a great thing to think about. When I talk about the anatomy of the spine that I mentioned a minute ago, I will explain how this works. Off of the spine, I hope you can all see it, are these little nerve roots that come off. They're little nerve branches that come off. They're shoots off the spine. They come off at every level of the spine. And they have 9 nerve bundles inside each nerve root. They run to every cell, every muscle, and every organ tissue of the body. Inside here with these 9 bundles, it's like a sheath with 9 bundles in it. 3 of the 9 bundles inside have pain receptors. That's their job, is to secrete pain and let you know that something's wrong, give you the owie sense. The other 6 of the 9 are for performance and function. So those are the ones that are going to tell your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, and you to fight disease. Those are the ones we really want to take good care of. And because when we have pain, we'll take action. No one likes pain. But when the performance side of the nerve root is what's being subluxated, we might not know it. And we could have a life-threatening illness brewing in our body without even knowing it. So that's why it's critical to have your nervous system checked on a regular basis. And so that's where chiropractors come in. Chiropractors are masters in adjusting technique that restore peace, balance, and harmony back to the body. Getting adjusted is like taking an old TV set out of the closet, bringing it down, adjusting the V-hold and the brightness and the color, and then standing back and being awed at what a beautiful picture that old TV set can put out. And chiropractors, once they have your nervous system working and performing at their best, we always say power on, and that's because the nervous system is functioning at a greater rate at that point. Thank you very much for being here.